what? It's time for another episode on the Main Street Randyland YouTube channel. Yes, yes, life is good. So we were walking by here, and I don't know, maybe because there was camera stuff laying here on the top of the old large projection TV, that you know, the camera guys were interested in what's going on over here. I mean, that's nothing special. It's my matte box from, you know, my DVX over here, which is, you know, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, extra glasses. I mean, this couldn't be interesting to them. What would be interesting over here? Maybe it's the Disneyland jacket? You think that was a pea coat from Disneyland? Now, that's California. No, I did not work in Disneyland. I worked in Disney World. But sometimes, you know, they got costumes for cast members that ended up from one park to another for whatever reason. And, you know, if you were working in Disney World and you ended up with a Disneyland pea jacket, well, that was something special that you definitely kind of wanted to make sure you knew where it was. So, a Disneyland pea coat. That's the way it goes along with my Disney World Magic Kingdom one. But that's, you know, interesting stuff. A couple more Digicarts. This is a can. This is one of those pinball machines you might have heard tales about when they talk about pinball machines being gambling machines. Gambling machines, you know, people once in a while on the internet, you see a picture of, usually in New York, a black and white photo of the police with sledgehammers and axes breaking up the pinball machines, smashing them to pieces because they were gambling devices. How could a sweet, innocent pinball machine be a gambling device? They were. They were gambling devices. Pinball today, like we know pinball, is not a gambling device. A lot of the machines that I collect were from my childhood, from the 60s, the 70s. And in those 60s games, a lot of them said on the machine, usually on the playfield or the apron down by where the ball comes back, for amusement only. Well, why would they put that on there? It's kind of an odd statement to make. This has got a little paper one on the top, amusement only, but that wasn't originally put on there because this is not for amusement only. This is a gambling pinball machine, commonly known as bingo pinball machines, slide cards, typically your 40s, 50s, where you found this type of machine. That's why it's a wood rail style. This card here is filled with numbers. And your idea, the goal would be to light up sequences that would give you the highest replay payout. Now here you have a replay meter. Right now it's on 13. That would be 13 games. Now, anybody who's played pinball knows if they win a free game, they win one free game, they win, you know, 2 free games. Usually those free game counters don't go up very high. But this free game counter goes up to 999. That's a lot of free games. Why would they do that? Well, because that was the score of payout. It was a payout meter. And although you could play those back into the machine instead of putting coins in, when you were done, if you had extra credits and you made a profit on that, you would go to the guy at the candy counter, because they were usually in candy stores or drug stores or some sweet, innocent location. He would come over and he would pay you the cash equivalent of those replays, and he'd hit underneath the machine a reset button, which would reset those credits and count on a meter inside the machine, so the mafiosa who would come in at the end of the week to do the collections on the machine would see how much the candy man had to pay out, and therefore he would have to be reimbursed for that money, and then the split of whatever the percentage they were getting from it. So they were definitely gambling machines. Well, how did they work? Well, you know, we got to move all this stuff to kind of show you. What do we have here? Ooh, Pirates of the Caribbean. This is the outerwear jacket, complete with your doubloon buttons. Very, very collectible and special. I dropped my pea jacket from Disneyland. What is going on? And look, there's fuzz on it now. Fuzz! Oh, this is the monorail jacket. This is the maroon colored monorail jacket. That's the second generation of monorail costumes when they were into the maroon. And we have, of course, our Magic Kingdom buttons. Here you have the typical outline of a gambling bingo pinball machine. There's no flippers. There's no pop bumpers, no slingshots, no up and around turnarounds. But it is a pinball. You got your ball shooter over here. Ball shooter. Going up, shoot the ball back and forth. The ball would bounce down and it would land in a hole. And landing in a hole, it would light up the number on the card. Objective being usually to get 3 in a row in a color. Let's look. This one's doing it in sections. So you have 3 in a blue section, 3 in a blue section, 3 in a blue section with different scores. All right. Green button for features, blue button for advancing scores. All different things here. Down here, these scores with the dancing can-can girls, where you see 3 numbers, that would be for 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Blue, yellow, red. Different things. So that light would advance. Now you see on the bottom, it says extra balls, 1, extra ball, 2, extra ball, 3, extra ball. Well, you got 5 balls. Now there are actual instructions here because they're all a little bit different. All right? Any 2 in an orange section starts a new free red letter. These are complicated. You actually have to read the instructions for that particular machine. So what makes it even more interesting is not just the payouts. You didn't put 1 coin in this machine and play the game. You put a coin in the machine would drop the balls so you would have your balls ready to shoot. But before you shoot, you can drop in more coins. Well, why would you drop in more coins? To get higher payouts. So when you drop in a second coin, the lights would flash and maybe you'd get a score advancement. You'd do it again, maybe you'd get another feature. Maybe you'd get nothing. So you could drop coin after coin after coin. You actually could drop 40 coins in one game on this type of pinball machine. And if you did, it was only to try to get additional features on the machine. There was no guarantee you were going to get them, and you certainly didn't get them all. It was a random cycle flash that would go in, and it would add up the features. So these buttons here, you have your left arrow and your right arrow. That was special for the sliding cards here. It looks to me, on this model machine, the numbers are probably stationary. The grid you see with the colors and the stripes rotates. So if I had the ability to turn that left, I could push that over, and maybe the numbers that are lit would then fall into a better zone. So I could slide it this way, I could slide it that way. Some of them, different ones, you would be able to turn the numbers. Like in the corner would turn, those would turn, those would turn. Some would slide up, some would slide across. This might even have that feature too, I'm not sure. But there were many, many things you could do playing with these buttons to try to get the highest possible payout. When you got it, you would push the R button here, and then it would collect and put it onto the replay meter, and you could either play them back by pressing your free play button instead of putting money into it, or getting the candy guy to come over and reset the machine and getting paid off. So these machines were absolutely gambling machines back in the day, and they gave pinball machines a bad name. So when I was a little kid walking around the corner to go down and play in Playland on Bryn Mawr Avenue at Route 35 South, the different old people sitting on the porch, they would say, "Oh, they're letting that kid go down gambling, playing those pinball machines." Because they remember pinball machines from their day being gambling devices. And they were back in the day. It was later that that was no longer allowed. And in New York State, for one, when games were just for fun, didn't allow machines where you could win a free game. You could only win an extra ball to extend the game you were playing, because it eliminated the free play credit mechanism that could then be paid off by the guy behind the counter. So pinball machines have a very long history and a little bit of a jaded history, if you want to do, because people corrupt things. Things that are fun can be corrupted. So they later became for amusement only and just for fun. Now you don't see the words for amusement only because everybody knows they're for fun. And that's what it's about. But back in the day, World War II, those sailors were coming with their pockets full, you know, sailor rich, and dropping the coins in. And if they weren't over at the jukebox playing Dime a Dance, hey, mister, take a chance. It only costs you a dime a dance. Did you watch the episode on the jukeboxes? You'll know the song. So, next time you play pinball, you can know that you're not gambling because it is not a gambling machine. It is for amusement only. Got that now? Were you amused? I'm sure you were because you're watching the Main Street Randyland YouTube channel. Hooray! And you get all that important information and you get to see the stuff. I mean, life is good when you're here on the Main Street Randyland YouTube channel. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, guys.